this week's edition of the Horror Debate. I'm Michael Mandy, and he's Rowdy Jeff.
And this week we are in the midst of the After Dark Horrorfest 3. This week it's going to be Voices from South Korea, believe it or not, Mikey. Mm-hmm. And we actually had to kind of read our movie this time around. But
oh, yeah. I saw when those subtitles came up, you were like, oh, no. I don't know about you, but the Rowdy one does not like to read his
I don't
movies.
like to read my movies, but in certain cases, I think we ran into a couple where I didn't mind reading it so much because it actually worked. One was in last year's Horrorfest, which was Frontiers.
Yeah, Frontiers.
Which I had to read, and I dug every minute of it. Mm-hmm. But this year we've got, from South Korea, as we said, Voices. All these voices. Oh, no, never mind. I won't sing the song. But it is of course, an import where we had to read. And did it distract you any? Did it cause you to kind of lose the flow of what was going on? Because there's in a lot of these movies, there's so much inference put in what is said. Emotion and crying, and I mean, you see the crying, but it's like the words aren't. You know what I mean? What do you think?
No,
you have no idea what I'm talking about.
No, I've watched movies like this, and the subtitles don't bother me.
They don't bother you. I think sometimes it takes away a little bit of the emotion for me. But this movie, to me, I said it like 3/4 of the way through the film. I looked at you, and what did I say?
Oh, God, do I have to watch the whole thing?
No, I said it's just so blah.
Yes.
It's just so blah. There's nothing.
The pacing to this film is very slow. Even when action and horror and violence happens, it's still presented slow.
Well, what? So you got the.
Okay, what's the basic plot? What are we talking about?
This is what I figured out about this thing, because I'm confused, okay? I figured out that there was a wedding, okay? And the bride
figured that one out. When they said, are you going to the wedding? That kind of was the clue.
The bride-to-be flew to Coop.
Literally.
Off the top of the balcony.
What, four floors up?
She was eliminated from the chamber match. She landed flat on the ground.
But she survived.
Blood everywhere coming out of her head.
And meanwhile, the father's in the back corner going, I hope the curse is lifted.
What? I mean, okay. She survives this fall, first of all, and that's amazing in itself, right?
Right.
This is a theme that was happening like throughout the entire film for me. Is what does it take to kill these people?
They're pretty tough, man. They're resilient.
There was a scene.
Well, the next thing,
stabbing.
She's in the hospital, and the nice auntie who loves her so much, her sister, visits her in the hospital, and next thing you see is the plastic screen around the bed, and you just see her just stabbing the heck out of her.
With a hypodermic needle.
I think it was a hypodermic needle.
Or something. Well, whatever it was making such a splash up on the curtain, it couldn't have been a needle. But that's what she had originally.
I don't know, man.
Right? Would she grab a shank on the way in? I mean, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm confused.
Maybe it was the car keys. I don't know.
Like I said, this movie confused me, Mikey. But then you had other things happen. What was the other kill that we were sitting there going, what does it take to kill these folks?
Oh, the guy, a character gets stabbed with a sword.
Oh, that's right.
And he slides his body closer to her, holding the sword.
Kill Bill style.
Yeah, so he could strangle her while she's got him impaled on this sword.
Nice.
And then after he falls down dead, he's still blinking and crying.
I'm sitting there going, what does it take? A can of Raid? I mean, what do we need here?
Wow.
You know, I don't get it. Anyway.
But anyways, the plot of this film is it then focuses on this main girl.
There's a curse.
And everyone's trying to kill her. They're her best. And there's a strange guy with real thick hair. Don't trust anyone. Don't trust anyone. Don't even trust yourself.
DTA, don't trust anyone.
That's right.
So.
And anyway, so everyone's trying to kill her.
So I'm sitting there going, we've got kind of decent visuals. We've got some things happening bloody-wise that are keeping me going. But when you got a movie that's kind of like dialogue-driven, a lot of it.
Yeah, this movie's very dialogue-driven.
And you got to read it. I mean, give me the freaking footnote version. I don't want to sit there for 90 minutes reading this thing, Mike.
Yeah, and then at the end, they have flashbacks, which are all the important scenes edited together, and you just said, well, heck, we should have just
That's what I said.
We should have started the movie here.
Why didn't I just watch the flashbacks and flash forwards? I think there was 2 flash sideways and maybe a flash diagonal in there, and we could have got the whole thing right there. I'm disappointed in this one, Mike.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen better, this is South Korean, as I said, but I've seen better import films by far. bar where I didn't mind reading the dialogue. This one was a chore in patience, which of course we all know I don't have.
Right. Yeah. So was this a film to die for?
It was a film that killed me, or almost did. I mean, I don't know. It's not that it's a bad film, though, Mike. I just think that
maybe this movie should be remade here in America.
Well,
and
I think
the pace tightened up a bit.
I think it was made for a different audience.
Yeah.
Maybe the South Koreans dig this sort of thing.
I guess.
I'm not one of them. I don't know. But for me, in the American audience, this film doesn't really fly.
No.
It's grounded before it ever gets started. I don't have a lot to say.
There's not much to talk about.
Positive about the film. I mean, like I said, we did have some cool visuals. We did have some, some dialogue at least to keep you going as to kind of what's going on in the film. But it was confusing for me because I was trying to watch the faces and get into the vibe of the characters while trying to read the subtitles at the same time, and it's hard to do that because you hear it, but you hear it in a different language. The inflections are different, so it's hard to judge. I can't even really tell you about the acting because I'm not hearing anything. I mean, I'm not getting that in my head. I really feed in a dialogue-driven movie off of inflection and how people are saying things. How much emotion is put into it, and it's very difficult to do that in a film like this. So. Yeah. We watched it. We didn't dig it so much.
No, didn't dig it.
And I think it's a 1 star.
Yeah.
I can't really. Now, like I said,
I don't want to bomb it, but
that might be unfair.
It's a cultural thing.
It might be unfair because there might be people in South Korea that think this is the hottest thing going. But like I said, for a Westerner to sit there and kind of piddle through this, it's very difficult to give it anything higher than a 1.
Yeah. All right. I'm Michael Mandy. He's Rowdy Jeff. We'll talk to you next week when we do another of the 8 films to die for, 3, on the Horror Debate.